opportunities if you apply these concepts? What can be next steps? What are things that we can take away from this training? So you don't need to have any strong media background to pick one or two things together, because no knowledge is useless. So the objective would be to gain deeper knowledge and understanding, underline the importance of stakeholders' engagement, seek wider exposure and application of this basic knowledge, and explore opportunities to use same knowledge for institution building, and develop action plan that works for NSITF. Next slide. Next slide. So, who are stakeholders? And this is a word that you keep hearing in the media every day. Stakeholders, stakeholders, stakeholders. Are you all hearing me? When we were in the media, when a word is overused, sometimes at editorial conference, we decide never to use that word again. Stakeholders is one word in Nigeria that all Nigerians should agree not to use again. Stakeholders, stakeholders. And yet, yeah, we just decide, because the radio that time, when we were fortunate, when we were household names in the media, there was only one radio station in Nigeria. If you must listen to radio, it's Radio Nigeria and one television, NTA. I left the media active. I left Radio Nigeria over about 18-20 years ago. But the younger ones now that belong to the Facebook, Twitter, to say Oji Obonaya Oji, they don't know. But the older ones, we know that time, 7 o'clock news, 4 o'clock news, 10 o'clock news, except you are not, in Nigeria at that time. It is the radio that helps you to know time, guides your daily activities, shapes your understanding of what's going on. We broadcast in Igbo, we broadcast in Yoruba, we broadcast in Hausa, and other major languages. So, who are the stakeholders? Stakeholders vary from organization to organization. In Haiti, where I work, our stakeholders are: one, the government that owns the oil, gas, and mining industry; the companies that do business in the oil and gas; the citizens who depend on revenues from oil and gas to improve their lives; the workers that go to work every day, they are stakeholders. So, in a way, stakeholders are individuals or groups whose daily life, who are affected by what you do in a particular organization. NSITF, for instance, the stakeholders of NSITF cannot be the same stakeholder for National Hospital, and cannot be the same stakeholders for NNPC, or cannot be the same stakeholders for Zenith Bank. Stakeholders in Zenith Bank, you don't need anybody, are the customers who deposit their money there, the workers who earn salary, the owner of the company, the shareholders. When you put money, if you have money in Zenith Bank and you hear that the bank is falling, you can't claim to be unaffected because you're a stakeholder. You rush either to relocate your account, and once your money is out of Zenith Bank, if they are talking, say, well, nothing concerns me, I'm no longer there. So stakeholders are individuals and groups that are affected directly by the affairs of that organization. So how they are affected also vary. There are stakeholders with deeper commitments and obligations, and there are others whose commitments are neither here nor there, but they are stakeholders. For instance, the workers are direct stakeholders. Because if you shut NSITF today, they are themselves and their families are affected. Government are direct stakeholders. Those who contribute to the fund are direct stakeholders who expect benefits. So you can categorize, but I'm a stakeholder in NSITF because it's a parastatal in Nigeria, and maybe in one way or the other, I know people who work there, but I'm not a direct stakeholder. If NSITF is not working today, my life will not be touched directly, except I have friends there who, because they don't have job, they have to rely on friends like me to help them support their life. So stakeholders have weight. The weight of involvement varies. I hope I'm clear about stakeholders now. So stakeholders vary in politics. Stakeholders are those who run for election, those who earn money from the election, those who sponsor, those who are expecting the senators or to deliver service to them. But those who pick up form, pay them 20 million naira to go and vie for election, they are direct stakeholders and they are ready to fight if you want to. So the weight of the stakeholders have to be measured. Why are they necessary? They are necessary because their actions or inactions shape the direction of the organization. The workers, the employers who employ them, those who, their actions or inactions shape the direction of policy or otherwise in the organization. So they are very necessary. And if you are in corporate relations, public affairs, and you have one way or the other to interact, and you don't know the stakeholders of your organization, your job is in jeopardy. You've not started. The first job is to identify your stakeholders. What are their interests? Their interests are varied. For the workers, they go to NSITF to earn a living. As simple as that. For the beneficiaries, they hope that one day when they have left NSITF, NSITF will provide a shoulder for them to fall on. For the government, they use that to provide social safety net for workers in the non-core public sector. So stakeholders vary. Government uses that to say, oh, you haven't been paid. Were you contributing to NSIT? I go there. So they use that to ease you away. They also use that to create jobs for the citizens, create institutional atmosphere. So their interests also vary. Who do they represent? They represent various categories of people who have various interests. Depending on the interests that you have, that's your level of representation. How do we know the stakeholders? You know the stakeholders by their various interests and by their responses to happenings in that organization. If there are certain things you do today in NSITF, the first people that will react will be the people who are directly involved, affected by that decision. If you put more money in NSITF today, the workers will be happy if it affects their revenues and all that. So these are very basic examples. How do you manage this interest? That's why we're here. How do you aggregate the interest? That's why we're here. Because management of this interest is key to the sustenance of that organization. Any risks? Yes. If you ignore the stakeholders, the organization falls. If you ignore the stakeholders, the workers are crying that you as the MD, I'm a chief executive, I run an organization, I have directors, I have heads of departments who are not directors, I have staff, I have drivers. All these people, their affairs that affect them directly come to my table for decision. How I make those decisions define the corporate existence of the organization. If you become insensitive to what the stakeholders are saying, the organization goes into crisis, and that's the risk. So how you manage and aggregate those interests are very important. Are there opportunities? Yes. Some stakeholders are ready to help the organization to move from one stage to the other. If you manage them well, you get the best out of them, including the workers, including the investors, the contributors. If they know, you know, during the COVID, one day I was watching how the whole Britain, the whole UK, opened their windows and were clapping for 4 minutes for one organization, NHS. In Britain, during COVID, I'm sure some of you watched it. In appreciation, there was an old man that felt that since he retired from service, if not for NHS, he would have died. He says he wants to raise £1,000 for NHS. He put a signboard outside, and he ended up raising over 11 million pounds. And he was honored by the Queen with OBE, Officer of the British Empire. Now, he's a stakeholder. He realized that on retirement, NHS, which is like our own NHIS, attends to all his medical help. And NHS is run by an organization. There are staff that work there, doctors, medical personnel, nurses. They attend to the medical health of all British people. And the citizens of that country felt that without NHS, they could have been in serious problem during COVID. They recognized their contributions. An organization like yours can, through corporate relations, good corporate governance, attain to a level where those who contribute to your fund also look forward to those kind of recognition. I used to tell people that the organization where you work, you're a stakeholder. And if you continue to undermine where you work, one day you will have no organization, and some people die with the organization that they work for. Go and ask people who retired, who worked in Nigeria Airways. If you have a relation, go and ask them. Go and ask those who worked in NITEL. Ask those who worked in Nigeria Railways, Nigeria National Shipping Line. Some of them died with the organization. Because I remember one time I was in the UK, and Nigeria Airways then, I was on Commonwealth Scholarship in 1995. I had finished my program, was to return home. And we were at Heathrow Airport for over 3 days, waiting for Nigeria Airways to come. Every day we wait, they say it to come, because that's the ticket with which I left the country a year ago. So when the Nigeria Airways finally landed, the crowd was too much because many days of cancellation. The day I came, every other day, we were piling up the number. They don't know where to start, and there was confusion at the airport. So the white people who were running the cabin, the counter on Terminal 3, they wanted us to, they said, okay, wait a minute, those who actually paid to enter this flight, who paid money, one line. Those who came by other ways, this line. Those who came by other ways, including us, were on the other line. And our line was on. Those who came, who paid to enter the flight, who paid money, they were not up to 2015. Because the white man said those who paid, people that were, first of all, go and sit down. And the rest of us have to depend on luck. I came by barter. At that time, Radio Nigeria used to run advertisement for Nigeria Airways, and they don't pay us money. So when we are traveling, they issue us tickets. But there were people, my own at least has a history. There are people who came by note, either their father, their mother, or relation, or they knew somebody, minister. So that's how the airline died. So the stakeholders that are direct, who were deeply affected were the staff and their families. Others like us who lost the prestige of a national airline are still crying today that Nigeria Airways. So that's how bad it is in managing aggregation of interests of stakeholders. Benefits, I've explained it. When the organization is doing well, all the stakeholders smile. They're happy. They are proud, like NHS in Britain. And these are the very important notes that you need to take. Next slide. So engagement is how you relate, how you work with these various interests and be able to have an organization that cares and delivers on its mandate. How do you communicate to these people? What kind of information do they need? What kind of actions do they need? What kind of care? What kind of attention do they need? The chief executive of that organization, in line with the mandate of the organization, delineates this responsibility, but the corporate affairs department is the one, the schedule desk, that have to aggregate these interests by knowing exactly what each of these stakeholders need. And you must note that as Diverse as their interests are, so are also their expectations. Next slide. So the general application is not uniform. It varies. How you address the staff is different from how you address investors or how you address the government that owns the organization. And then how that approach might depends on what I will also discuss in the course of this presentation. But there must be a beginning of engagement. There must be a point of engagement with stakeholders for your organization. And there must be clear justification why you need them, why this is necessary. It's very important. You must also be able to develop an approach in terms of context. What circumstance will make it possible for you to engage them? And the content of the engagement must have a content. Content is content is the ingredients that you table in terms of engagement. You don't engage without content. For instance, if you want to address the staff and you're a chief executive, you must know what the staff is talking about, what are the preferences, what are the things they are complaining about, how do you address them, how would you present that matter in a manner that the staff will listen. That's you develop a huge content. How do you generate that content? You interact with staff, you discuss with them. I heard that the staff are not happy with my leadership. What can I do differently? You talk with your wife, if necessary. What she's hearing. Talk with your staff, because there are things, if they know there are people that will reach your staff or friends directly, and they may even say, look, don't go to work on Sunday, on Monday. There's going to be problem in the office. You need to say, why? They talk to you. You talk to the staff. You talk to the industry unions who exist in that organization. You talk to the bad staff. The bad staff have a story. Why are they so cantankerous? Why are they so uncooperative? You talk to the good staff. You talk to all kinds of people. You are able to generate a content. And by the time you are addressing the staff, you are hitting the nail at the head. That is the content. You don't go to a meeting without content. You don't go to a meeting like that without content. You go to a meeting and make a statement that everywhere will be calm. This man is like he knows what we're talking about. Let's listen to him. The impact of that will be that you open up a floodgate of ideas that will start rolling in. Oga, we didn't even know that you know what we're talking about. We are surprised that you know all this and you have not addressed it. Since you know this is what you should do. This is what you should do. This is what you should do. If you do this is what will happen. If you're a good leader, you are taking note. Then you will not succumb to intimidation anyway. At the end of the all, you pretend that, yes, I've noted your comment. You know that the truth has been told. And you need to come quickly and respond to action. Next slide. Well, government relations is the same. As a government agency, there are things, what is it that we need to be doing to government? One is to be able to deliver your mandate in a manner that it gives government credibility. When we say a government did not achieve much, it is an aggregation of failure of various arms of government. The health sector is doing well, the communication sector is doing well, the work sector is doing well, the human resources sector is doing, everybody is doing well, it now fits into the overall assessment of that administration. And then people are able to say, oh, thank God that we have this leadership is doing. The same thing in an organization. You come to corporate affairs, people can't get information they need, they can't get attention, they write, you won't reply. You go to the chief executive, you can't find him, he's in London, next day he's in Dubai, he's not available, you can't reach him. You go to administration departments, salaries are not paid, HR is not attending to HR issues, people don't get promoted, they don't attend training, they are stagnant, frustration everywhere. It's a failure of various departments. But when everything is working, they now go directly to that kind, and the government is getting the feedback that since this man took over, that agency is doing very well. So that relationship is there. So you go to engage with government to ask for, if you don't have an office building, you get one. If you have no, we have been hearing good stories about. So you engage the government by execution of your mandate. Good corporate leadership. Next one. And then you engage the whole organization by yourself in your respective attendance to your duties, which now could mean, because when the chief executive wants to, I presented a report card today on what we have done in 6 months since I took over. And before that report, I asked all the departments to give me update on what they have done, aggregated them, and I say, we in management, we did this. I'm the one talking. I didn't do it alone. I work with people. And it is aggregation of all that they have done that I'm presenting as a report card. The same thing countrywide, the same thing service-wide. When government wants to address the citizens, they go to all the various ministries, agencies, and say, please give us, send in your report. And from those reports, those writing the report for the president or for whoever is addressed, we now pick the highlights of achievements in those areas. Say in the health sector, we have done this. That's how to engage government. And how to engage in your organization is to identify your mandate and make sure you perform those duties where to generate a content of responsibilities that you have performed. Next slide. Then to measure those impact is it's not just about commissioning a survey, no. But you can know the impact if the feeling of the environment is well. When you enter into an organization, those of us in public relations, and you see broken cars all over in that office, cars that with tarpaulin have not functioned for many years. They are not just one, littered all over the compound. You enter the reception, there are cobwebs. You don't need to ask anybody how this agency is performing or misbehaving. You know there's failure of leadership here. You enter an organization. From the reception, you are welcomed with very good air condition, very well cultivated young lady is smiling at you. Can I help you, sir? Who do you want to see? Are you on appointment? And as your appointment, the next person comes, you are the one to see the head of HR, you move in. In 10, 20 minutes, you are there. You are attended to, and you leave. You look around, you see very nice cars in the compound, the gate man, everybody well dressed, and you leave. Even the gate man is say, bye, see you next time. What's your impression? That the agency is working. So, whenever you enter any organization and you see people in the office selling akara and eating oka, and this one is talking, shouting, you are talking to the woman, she's answering phone, you say, hey, my friend, what are you talking about? You know there's a problem. And this is the decay that we all deal with. So that's government relations. The next one. Next slide. So public affairs. Because you need to understand these concepts one after the other. Public affairs are those issues that dominate public interest. Issues that are of interest to the public constitute public affairs. Any issue that does not affect aggregation of interests of people is not public affairs. And in your organization, they include but not limited to the issues that you deal with that concern the public. I don't know them. But there are issues that you know the public look forward to hearing from NSITF today. Not just staff. It didn't say staff affairs, it said public affairs. If it's payment of their contributions as at and when due, it's a public affairs issue. If it is how you manage your budget, because budget, if you are generating money, how you manage your revenues is public affairs issue. And your interest in understanding those issues and how they affect and shape the integrity of your organization is key. You identify them by the various interests that people show on those issues. And stakeholders, public affairs, and engagement. I've explained this. How do you define the approach and context? It varies. But if you know the interests, if you know the interested stakeholders, you know the public affairs issues, let me ask you, please, Can somebody tell me what is a very key public affairs issue in NSITF? An issue of public interest. Yes.
Compensation, sir.
Fantastic. Payment of compensation as at and when due. In this compensation, because I didn't have enough time to go through your mandate. In this compensation, lives are involved. People's hopes and aspirations are involved. Number of people, not just a few, are involved. If you ignore these people, they constitute a group and a press group carrying placards and saying all kinds of things to draw your attention to your failure to attend to their needs. It's a public affairs issue. In that way, people will step in from all kinds to say, that's why we told you that those people, and from that, you can begin investigation. Where is this money that I was talking about? So, but if you pay them as at and when due, everybody goes home. And they will be also very sensitive. There are organizations that I know, even their retired staff are treated as if they are still in service. If you go to Central Bank, yeah, they have ID card. Yes, and I'm introducing that in Haiti. You treat people who have worked and left the organization, who have worked and left as if they are members of staff. You are interested even when they are sick. Yeah, because all this while they have always spent their life in that organization. Yeah, there were a few gestures we normally extend to staff. When I took over, we just discovered that WEAS is a very young organization. Those who retired from my office are not many. About 6 or 7 of them. Not many. It's a young agency. And we incorporated them, and the feedback I got shows me that it's something worth sustaining. Because sometimes you meet people at the point of their needs. And you may be saying it's a small thing. No. Those, because one of them came from Kaduna to say, you remembered me. So it's very little things so compensation is key at the heart of everything, because you told people that they should contribute, and that when they retire, and they build their hope and plans around. Only for them to retire, they call, this number cannot be reached. They come to reception, they will be treated as if, you aggregate their problem. So this is what so many pensioners are going through. Please, it's a public affairs issue. Stakeholders, what defines relationship with institution? So the way you manage public affairs issues like this one defines the relationship with those organizations. Pension is a very sensitive issue. If you work in an organization that you are sure that when you leave, they won't turn their back on you, you are more likely to be more committed. The role of corporate relations officer is to constantly bring these issues to the attention of management. Constantly. Sir, we have today in our kitty 1,500 people due for compensation. We have worked and compute. Can you please authorize for their compensation to be computed, and let us have a plan, have an idea when they will be paid? That information is necessary for corporate affairs, so that when inquiries come, it comes to you and you are saying, oh, thank you, sir. Where are you calling from, sir? I say, I'm calling from Warri. When did you retire from service? So and so. Can I have your number? You give, say, wait a minute, it comes back to you. Okay, sir. Yes, we are already on it. And I think your payment will be coming by 12th of December. Say, what did you say? I say, your payment will be ready on or before 12th of December. You have given that person hope. Even if you are not going to make, and before 12th of December is not ready, you send an email. We are sorry, we regret that as a result of circumstances beyond our control, we are not able to meet the targeted deadline but we are sure your payment will be made before 16th of January. By 16th of January, on or before then, he gets an alert. You know what that means? A person will call his family, I didn't go to Abuja. I have got my pension. What kind of organization? But we want to see your organ. You know, so fundraising capabilities for the private sector. Even in the private sector, you need to also know if your agency depends on funds, external funds. You should be a personality that can attract funding to your organization, because everything rises and falls on revenue. Conflict prevention, management, and resolution skills should be a good person that can negotiate, can be able to resolve issues. There are a lot more qualities that anyone can take. Let's go to the next. Corporate impact of strong government relations and engagement. What I think we try to say here, there's a mix-up, is the basic steps you need to take in engaging in public relations and public affairs management. One, you need to have, if you are appointed into a department that is saddled with this responsibility, the next job, the first job you need to do is need assessment. The need assessment you will do is a quick one. You need to find out who are my stakeholders, who are the people. You know, as head of public affairs, you have your own internal stakeholders. Who is important in this my job? My boss that I report to. How do I manage him? Those who consume the information and my work, people that must approve my work. What kind of things, what do I need to succeed in this job? You must know, and you must ask. If you don't know, you ask. Then you do what we call stakeholders mapping. I told you before that stakeholders are many, but they have levels of influence. Their levels of influence are not the same. The level of influence on government, on your office, is heavier than any other one. If you provoke the government, they can close your office down. Say, this office is no longer worthy to use. I'm introducing a bill to National Assembly to close them down. So their weight is not just about protest. They can make decision. The weight of your boss, whom you report to, is also huge. It's a stakeholder in your immediate department. Your boss can decide this man is not performing. I take him out from Abuja to Warri. He's going to. You can go to Katsina. You go to So he has a very strong weight. So you must identify the stakeholder, map your stakeholders, and assign weights of their influence. Then you have to develop what we call communication strategy, not in the sense of a professional communications person. How do I, okay, I'm taking this file to my boss. How do I, and get approval? How do I sell this information and get approval? But if you have a comprehensive communication plan that speaks to all your challenges, fantastic. I mean, this one is commissioned by the office. Develop a work plan and implementation strategy that every morning when you are running off ideas, come. There was a plan I put before. You go through, and it gives you an idea. That plan needs to be adjusted from time to time. You need strong monitoring and oversight of your work. You need feedback, petitions, and request mechanism. You must provide a channel where people are dissatisfied. Instead of going on the street, they're able to reach you directly through a source, and you're able to respond. In that way, you nip certain agitations on the board. You need corporate branding of your organization. Corporate branding. When people, there are organizations that when you see their email, even before seeing the name, you know this email is coming from, they have a character. They have a font. They have a column. This presentation is on 90 branding. This is 90 column. But we do go beyond that. When you see, even the way, if you check the governor of the central bank, there's a particular tie he wears. Good. It's a tie of the Central Bank of Nigeria color. So, and his personality, that's what he likes. He can afford any other tie, but he is branded by that color. So your organization's corporate image can be branded to look in a certain way. And when people see you, even without knowing, they say he looks like somebody who is from NSITF. in most organizations, this is a huge task. It depends on the vision of the leader and how the leader sees the corporate image of the organization. I think, once we love you for now.